So I'm going to be making a few videos just to help new knife makers out with some basics. When I started, there wasn't a lot of info around, and thought I might could help some guys out here. So let's talk about first up, just grinding bevels. This can be the most challenging step in knife making, right? We want to try to get a nice straight edge with bevels ground as close to even as we can get on both sides of the knife. Easier said than done sometimes. So first, what we want to do is come in and mark our center line. Now I'm going to make a quick video to show you exactly how to mark your center line so you can make sure that the knife is ground nice and straight. At the end of the day, we don't want a big curve in the edge that's going to affect performance, and it's just not something that you can sell to anyone or that you want to keep for yourself and show off. So the first thing we want to do is mark our center line. I'm going to cover that in the next video. But before we start grinding our bevels, it is a good idea to knock off your edges, your 90 here. It'll save you money in belts and a little bit of time when you're grinding. Doesn't have to be perfect, not super precise. We want to come in at approximately a 90-degree angle and just knock the rough edges off. You're going to do that on both sides, right? Here, the same thing. Okay? From that point, we can move on to grinding our bevels. Now, I like to leave a little bit of the shoulder here, so I'm going to start my plunge a little bit in. Now, you guys can start however you want, right? It's your knife. You do what you want. Don't let anybody tell you what you have to do. So that's the first thing. So I'm going to start cutting in here a little away from the beginning of the shoulder. So what I want to do is I want to get a good stance, good grip. I like to get my knuckles in the back of the knife here with my elbows tucked in. All right, so now it's important, once we've knocked off our 90s, that we pick our angle, right? I have to decide how high I want this grind. Now, you can certainly start low and then start working your way up. I personally like picking my angle and sticking with it. It tends to take off an even amount of material on both sides, resulting in a much straighter edge when you're finished. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to pick my angle, try to get as accurate as I can where I cut in that plunge. Now, I don't want to dig this thing in, and I don't want to come in at a strange angle here and create any kind of divot. So I want to push in nice and easy and nice and flat. So I'm going to press in, and I'm just going to drag the knife at the same angle as straight as I possibly can with as even pressure as I can, because if you have uneven pressure, you're going to get all kinds of divots in this knife. Now, you're going to have to go back and hand sand those or work on the grinder to get those out, so it's better if you can avoid it. Now, when you first start, you're certainly going to have this problem, so don't worry. This is actually just a cutout of some mild steel. You can get mild steel from, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. I suggest you do that. It's a lot cheaper than getting some expensive knife making steel and learning on that. So just get some mild steel. It won't hurt when you screw it up, because you're going to screw it up. But don't worry about it. You just keep practicing, and you're going to get better and better and better. I've been doing this for a lot of years now, and it took me a long time to get even bevels. So don't stress, just keep trying. So we're going to come in. We want to get our same angle. Press in nice and easy, and we just want to pull straight across. Nice, even pressure straight across. So the goal is to remove an even amount of steel on each side of the bevel per pass, right? Ultimately, we're grinding down to our center line, and then we'll have a nice straight knife. You're always going to have a weak side. So if you're right-handed, when you're passing to your right side, it's probably going to be a lot straighter. And when you switch to your left side, you're probably going to get a little wobble in the grind. Don't worry about it, and don't stress on every single pass. It's okay. There's a lot of things you can do to fix that after, and I'm going to cover those in a separate video. But for now, it's just trying to get as even as we can. And remember, you're going to have a lot of passes to correct those wobbles and those uneven grinds, as long as you don't dig in, you're not trying to put all your weight into each and every pass. Now, certainly as you get better, you can add additional pressure once you've kind of figured out the nuances of grinding. But at first, I really do suggest that you stay nice and easy, nice light to medium pressure, right? It's not gonna hurt to have some extra passes here, right? We're not in a race against time. We wanna get it right. So I'm gonna come back, throw on my safety gear, and do some real world grinds for you here to kind of show you what the process looks as best as I can. Remember, when you're grinding metal of any kind, you gotta have a respirator, very important. You don't want all that junk in your lungs, and wear safety glasses. The last thing you wanna do is get a big piece of metal in your eye. That's gonna suck. All right, be right back. All right, got my safety gear. We're gonna kick this thing on. Now, the grinder can be a little intimidating when you first get started. Just have faith, be calm, have it in your mind that you're gonna get this right. And if you don't, who cares? You're just getting mild steel, right? No big deal. So let's do a couple passes here and we'll show what a bevel should be ground like. All right, so that's 3 passes. You can see where I started my plunge. And we can see I got a nice straight line at the beginning of our bevel here. Now, you're gonna try to stay with your same angle. You're gonna use your work rest if you have one, it helps. I wanna rest my secondary hand here to keep this as stable as possible as I pull across. And I want to do my best to get the same angle each single pass. So this, even if you have the same angle, right, it will continue as you pull material off. This bevel will keep coming up higher and higher and higher, right? And that's the goal as we pull off the same amount of material from each side. So don't worry when you come in at first and it looks low like this. I'll turn the grinder back on. We'll do a few more passes and you'll see it's going to keep coming up higher and higher. Okay? Now here's a little tip of what I like to do. Now everybody's different, so do what you want. But I like to do even passes. So I will do 6, 7 passes on this side of my bevel, and then I'll flip the knife around and do 6 or 7 passes here. Now this, especially when you start, is going to really help even out your bevels. The other way you could do it is to grind down to your center line on one side and then grind down to your center line on the other side. Now, when you do this, you're gonna have less opportunity to correct your grinds, because when I'm switching back and forth from one side to the other, I can see if I accidentally took off a little too much material on one side, maybe my grind's a little higher here. That'll give me the opportunity to correct this side and even everything up in a slower fashion. Now it's gonna slow you down a little, but that's okay, right? We'd rather have a better knife that took a little more time to make than vice versa, right? Otherwise you're just wasting material. So let's do a few more passes and we're gonna show how this bevel's gonna keep coming up a little bit higher as we, we hope to stay at the exact same angle that we started. All right, here we go. see, I am just slowly working up the knife. There's no hurry. I'm just doing light pressure. I want to try to keep my plunge line even, right? We're going to try to match that up on the other side when we flip it over. Do the best you can. And then just, you know, be patient. Now, the other thing is ceramic belts are a lot better than if you use just a basic oxide belt. Now you want to use something on this belt. It's not real flexible. It's pretty stout, right? This is going to allow us to push in, especially on a flat grind. You can push into our platen without this belt generating a lot of movement. It's going to give us a lot straighter of a grind. All right, so that's about it for grinding. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. And then we're going to move on from here, center line, and then we're going to talk about how to grind swedges. And then I'll think of some other basics that we can cover to help you guys out. All right, take care.